What's going on, guys? It is Caleb, and today I'm bringing you guys another JavaScript tutorial. Continuing right where we left off. Last video and last exercises, we were learning about what are objects, how to create them and use them, learning about literal notation, and learning how to use indexing and bracket notation. And I'm pretty sure we got into dot notation and all this other great notations, and maybe I'm lying, maybe I'm just talking, but today we're going to do a method to the madness, learn how to add methods to objects and create objects through constructors. And this is very important because later on, whenever we start messing around with the constructors in the classes, and inherentism and polymorphism and all this other great stuff, this is really going to come in handy. So if you're not already in full screen, make sure to go and head into full screen now so you can see this wonderful, beautiful code we're about to type. Along with full screen is just better, and this video is always HD, so hopefully it's HD. It should be HD, and if it's not HD, tough luck, because this shit should be HD. So, function review. In this lesson, we are going to focus on methods. Methods are an important part of object-oriented programming, OOP. OOP, or object-oriented programming, is an important part of programming which we'll dive into later. Methods are similar to functions. To prepare for methods, let's do a quick refresher on functions. Functions are defined using the function keyword followed by a pair of parentheses with optional parameters inside, a pair of curly braces with the function's code inside the curly braces, and then finally the curly braces are followed with a semicolon declaring that it's a statement and it is a function. So, when we call the function, we can put inputs or arguments for the parameters. And as you can see, when I talk about inputs, we are talking about how here in our multiply function, we have two inputs. We have an x and we have a y. And as you can see, we are returning x times y. So we're multiplying the two inputs that we pass through the function. So for example, the square function on line 2 takes x as its parameter and returns that parameter squared. Now if we go ahead and look on line 2, we have a var square equals function. It's passing in one parameter here, and it's returning x times x, which is that squared. So that's all fine and dandy. Define a function called multiply. It should take two parameters, x and y, and return the function, then call your function passing it any two arguments. So if we go ahead and reset our code, we're going to go ahead and set var multiply, and this is an ugly way to write functions. Not like writing it like this. I'm gonna write my function like this. I'm gonna say function multiply. I'm going to throw x, y, open curly braces, and I'm returning x times y. Now, if we go ahead and submit this code, oh, wait, we got the green light, but I want to go back just so we can see our multiply function in action. We can pass in two parameters, so multiply, and we all know what 10 times 2 is, or 10 times 2, there we go. It should give us a 20, which it did, so it's all good. So way to go. Now we can go into methods. So what is a method? Let me just go ahead and reset my code here. In the last section, we discussed properties. We think of properties as variables associated with an object. Similarly, a method is just like a function associated with an object. Let's look at Bob. Our same person's object from the last lesson, instead of just having the properties name and age, line 3 and 4, Bob also has a method called SetAge, line 6. As you can probably guess, this method sets Bob's age to whatever arguments you give it. Notice how we define SetAge, kind of like we define a property. The big difference is that the put in a function after the equal sign instead of a string or number. So they put it into a function. So let me finish reading the stuff on the left first before I go into detail. We call a method like a function, but we use object.name.methodName to look at line 10, where we're using the method to change Bob's age to 40. We did this by calling bob.setAge 40. So the instructions are, try it yourself. Use a method, set age to Bob's age to 20. So if we really look at this right now, to really see what's going on, we can see that they're creating a new object here named Bob. Now we're using dot notation to declare his name and setting his name to a string of Bob Smith. We're setting his age, and we're defining these all at the same time as we set them. So we're declaring his age to equal to be 30. Now, this time they've added a method called setAge. So bob.setAge equals function new age is a variable that they will be passing through the function. So whenever you say bob.setAge, you're going to pass in a new age integer. So we'll get to that in a second. But what it's going to do is going to take that new age and it's going to do bob.age equals new age. Now, what this will do, if we were to go down here and read the line 10, is saying bob.setAge 40. Well, we're passing 40 into this new age variable right here. Now it's saying bob.age equals new age, and if the new age is 40, well, Bob's age is going to be 40. So it's pretty self-explanatory. So what it wants us to do is go ahead and say bob.setAge, and it wants us to set him to 20 years old. So if we go ahead and submit our code, we should get the green light, and away they go. Alright, so why are methods important? And before we go ahead and get started, once again, just reset the code. So, methods serve several important purposes when it comes to objects. They can be used to change object property values. The method setAge on line 4 allows us to update bob.age. They can be used to make calculations based on object properties. Functions can only have parameters as input, but methods can make calculations with object properties. For example, we can calculate the year Bob was born based off his age with our getYearOfBirth method, which is on line 8. So the instructions are: click Save and submit the code to find out what year Bob was born, and move on to the next exercise, where we'll learn more how to make a method. So let me go ahead and read it right now. Once again, they're still using the bob.age right here. So they're creating a new object, assigning his age to 30. They have a new method, and it's called setAge. So that's the same method that we have. Now they're having the bob.getYearOfBirth equals function, and what they're doing, they're returning 2012, which it's 2013. So that probably should be changed, but I'm not going to mess with it. You'll get it. 2012 minus bob.age, and this will give us the year that Bob was born. So if we go ahead and console.log bob.getYearOfBirth, which we're calling that method, is going to go ahead and return 2012 minus Bob's age. So whatever that may be, we don't know. We'll find out in a second, and it's 1982. So Bob was born in 1982. So pretty cool, Bob. Okay, so now, before we get started, let's go ahead and reset this. Alright, the this keyword. Our setAge method works great for Bob because it updates bob.age. But what if we want to use it on other people? It turns out we can make a method work for many objects using a new keyword, this. The keyword this acts as a placeholder and will refer to whichever object called that method when the method is actually used. So let's look at the method setAge, which is on line 2, to see how this works. By using the keyword this, setAge will change the age property of any object that calls it previously. I read that wrong. setAge will change the age property of any object that calls it. Previously, we had a specific object Bob instead of the keyword this, but that limited the use of the method to just Bob. Then when we say bob.setAge equals setAge, which is on line 9, it means whenever we type bob.setAge, and then whenever we pass through the parentheses, this.age in the setAge method will refer to Bob. So the instructions are to show this way of making setAge works just like the one in exercise 2. Use Bob's setAge method to change his age to 50. So if you're not really fully understanding what this keyword is doing, this is very important because you'll see this a lot. And the way I kind of think of it is kind of like this is a reference place. It's kind of like a finger. And whenever it doesn't matter what you are, if you're an object or if you're just a function, a method, whenever you call it, this will say, so if we were to call the dot set age, we can call it on any object. We can have an object named bananas. We can have it named schoolgirls or laptops. You know, it can be any kind of object. And then we can call the set age function to it. Now that function works, or that method works for any object, because we have specifically said this dot age. So we're assigning this. Now this, when I say this, I mean whatever object that has called the method, it gets a new key dot, which is the age, and it assigns it to the new age. Now that's exactly what they're doing here. As you can see, they're doing right here they're saying Bob.setAge, and now they're only referring to Bob. But you know, we could say bananas.setAge. You know, we just make it up as we go, and it will still work for any object. So it wants us to change Bob's age to 50 here. So if we go ahead and say Bob.setAge, we should just say 50, and go ahead and save and submit. Oh no, we got the wrong. Oh, what did we do? Nope, go back. We did a capital G, and it should be lowercase g. It's all good. Now we're good. Now we're like butter. Yeah, that's right. We're on a roll. All right. So was that the wrong one? Oh no, okay. This is a different one. Okay, so here we go. This works for everyone. Great. Now we can take advantage of the fact that the method setAge is not limited to a single object, Bob. We can reuse the same method for different objects. This allows us to avoid typing out a custom method each time, all because we use a placeholder, this. In the editor, we have the same code as last time, where we define setAge using this. We then set bob.setAge equals setAge. But this time, we will reuse the setAge method for Susan as well. The instructions are, make Susan on lines 11 through 13, who should initially have an age of 25, and a Susan.setAge method also equal to setAge. Then use Susan.setAge35 to set Susan's age to 35. So they want us to create a new object named Susan. So we're going to do it just the way that we did the. We're going to do it the same way that they made their Bob object. So we're going to say var Susan equals new object. Now that we have our new object named Susan, we're going to say Susan, or not Susan, yeah, what am I thinking? Susan.age equals, and it wants us to set her age to 25. And now does Susan have an or a last name? She doesn't. So we're just going to say Susan dot equals 25. And we should also make a new method that says Susan dot setAge equals setAge. So that's referring to the setAge function. So so Susan dot setAge, make sure to not mix up your capital letters there, equals setAge. And now this is referring to this little method or function or class, whatever you want to call it. It's not necessarily a class, but it's definitely a method. But it's referring to this setAge method up here. And as you can see, we're passing in the new age and so forth. So here we go. All we have to do now is say Susan dot setAge 35 and submit our code, and we get the green light. So that was awesome. Hopefully you guys followed along, and we're going to continue to our next exercise. So yeah, let's reset. So make your own method. Let's look at a new example and get practice writing methods. Here we have defined an object rectangle starting on line 1. it has two properties, length and width, which represents the length and width of the shape. We have written a setLength method which will update rectangle's length to the given parameter. This is very similar to SetAge from our personal example. Note, we have used the keyword this. This is still a placeholder, but in this scenario, this can only ever refer to rectangle because we defined setLength to be explicitly part of a rectangle by defining it as rectangle.setLength. So the instructions are: finish the method setWidth. It should take a parameter, new width. It will change the property of width to the given parameter. When use the two methods setLength and setWidth to change rectangle's length to 6 and width to 8. So if we go ahead and read what they have here, they already defined the rectangle.setLength. So they want us to finish writing the .setWidth. So rectangle.setWidth equals function, and we just say something like new width, open curly braces, this dot width equals new width. And we're getting an error for some odd reason. Missing, okay, what's wrong? What is wrong? Let's see here. Function. There we go. Alright. So now we're looking good. Rectangle.setWidth equals function, passing in new width as a parameter. This dot width equals new width. Change the width to 8 and the length to 6. So we can just say rectangle dot setLength, and we could pass an 8 for, or actually 6 for our length, and then we could say rectangle dot setWidth, and we're going to pass an 8. Now if we go ahead and save and submit, we did not get the green light. Rectangle is not defined. Let's go back. Nope, went back too far. Rectangle. Did I spell rectangle wrong? I did spell rectangle wrong. There we go. Save and submit now. Make sure to spell rectangle correctly or you will fail the exercise, unfortunately. I hate having typos. Alright. So if we just go ahead and reset this. More kinds of methods. Let's look at another method that calculates useful information about an object. Here we have an object square with a side length property that represents the length of the square's side. This time we have added a new method, calcPerimeter, which computes the perimeter of the square. Notice we make use of the keyword return in the same way it is used in functions. So the instructions are: add another method called calculateArea, or calcArea, which returns the area of square in terms of side length. Use the calcPerimeter function as a guide. So we go ahead and look at the what they have here in the editor. We can see that they have a new object that's called square, and they're declaring the side length and they're setting it to 6. So we have a side length, but we don't happen to have a width, which I guess that's fine because if it's square, it's all going to be this. It's going to be the same length as the width. So square.calcPerimeter equals function, and what we are returning is this dot side length times 4. Okay, help us define an area method here. So what we do here now, we say square dot, and what's this to say, calc area equals function, and we're not going to pass anything through here, but we can return this dot side length, and we're just going to multiply it times 2, and this will give us the area of our square. And if we go ahead and run this, and we get a false. Oops, try again. So we epically fail here. What is wrong with our code? Help us to find an area method here. Calc area equals function, return this side length times 2. Area is length times width, isn't it? I'm pretty damn sure that's length times width. Do they not have a... Let's see here. Let's look at the hint. The calc area method would look a lot like the calc perimeter method, except it should return this dot side length. Oh, okay. My bad. This dot side length. And yep, this is what Algebra 2 teaches you. You get to learn. You don't even know how I feel so stupid. Don't even know how to calculate the area. Oh man. Okay, so hopefully you guys you should say this dot side length times this dot side length. I knew that didn't sound right. Times 2. What am I thinking? I don't know. It's an off day. Don't judge me off this video and every other 50 videos I have. Alright guys, if this helped you guys out, you know, make sure to leave a like, rating, and thumbs it up. Leave a comment if you ever get stuck. Until next time guys, I'm Caleb. Have a nice day.